Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, as it appears right now, it seems as though Donald Trump should emerge relatively unscathed, at least until Election Day. Sure, they got a guilty verdict, and all the headlines read that Donald Trump is now officially a convicted felon. Sure, they're excited with all of their headlines, but the reality is, Donald Trump hasn't been sentenced yet, there's still an appeals process. He's not a convicted felon quite yet.
Well, let me tell you something that you might not know. You've probably been reading in the press, if you've been reading about this case, that Trump is already a convicted felon. The jury has convicted him. He's a convicted felon. Well, guess what? That's not true. You're not a convicted felon because of a jury verdict. You're not convicted unless the judge enters a judgment of guilt against you. The judge still has the power, as I told you before, to throw out that verdict and enter a judgment of acquittal. You are not convicted until the judge enters that judgment of guilt.
Trump is likely to remain free to campaign, to participate in this election, and so it's frickin' on. The people are going to be the ones here with the last decision, not the courts. And so given that fact, I think people should be armed with information, no? Trump did this, Trump did that, Trump's a liar, he's corrupt, he's this, that, and the other. Well, what about Piss Pants Joe? What? And the skeletons in his closet, huh? Yeah, how about we venture into some facts here? How about we venture into that world? Let's expose the lies, the deception of dishonest old kooky Joe. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I first want to start off by playing this clip. Here's a little flashback moment from Jake Tapper's show roughly a year ago.
And Kristen, Glenn Kessler from the Washington Post had a fact check about Joe Biden from earlier this month, noting that Hunter Biden admitted in court in July that he was in fact paid substantial sums from Chinese companies. Kessler wrote, Hunter Biden reported nearly $2.4 million in income in 2017 and $2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China?
Once you
None
became
of that
vice president,
is true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
So it's from two different debates, but I mean, Trump was right. I mean, he did make a fortune from China, and Joe Biden was wrong. I don't know that he was lying about it. He might not have been told by Hunter, but this blind spot is a problem.
During that particular time, the fact check of the day was that Trump was right. Joe Biden once again exposed a liar, clearly trying to cover something up. You know, the question that constantly comes to mind, left-wingers are always lobbing accusations of political corruptness. They claim that Donald Trump and his cronies are using government for personal gain. Well, here we have the current president of the United States involved as the big guy in his son Hunter Biden's business dealings. On the debate stage back in 2020, he lied about his son making any money abroad, then gets exposed as a liar as it turns out that his son actually made millions upon millions of dollars. There's an obvious look of influence peddling. I mean, for Pete's sakes, between 2009 and 2017, Hunter Biden and his business partners opened up 15 companies. Take a look at the list up on the screen. You know, they were getting busy to something, not exactly sure what, considering Hunter Biden has no skills, and at the time literally was a crackhead, bouncing around the globe on a multi-year-long bender. You know, obviously something stinks here, something's fishy, but Democrats seem totally uninterested. Just brush it all under a rug and point the finger at the other guy and accuse him of what you're guilty of, I guess, right? But anyways, you know, just some thoughts, just some perspective that I thought could be useful here. Joe Biden's family received millions, and for some reason, he thought the best course of action to get elected was to lie about it. Just a little bit fishy from the guy who's supposedly such a stand-up guy, you know, an impoverished politician who sacrificed riches to serve his people. Of course, that image is a complete scam, and the reality is this guy lies about everything. He was exposed. His crackhead son and his crooked brother were running around the world getting big bucks from foreign dictators. He denies it all, and then when a mysterious crackhead laptop dropped that just happened to be his son's, with a bunch of video and photographic evidence of crimes, and then of course the emails that implicated Joe Biden essentially directly, well, when that dropped, what did Joe Biden do? Well, he said this.
Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Nobody.
President Trump, I want to stay on the...
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
Oh, the laptop didn't even exist, actually. It was a figment of your imagination, apparently. It was something created in a lab by the Russians. That's what Joe Biden's CIA friends told him to say. Then, of course, Hunter was rushed to the mainstream media to play a game of laptop. What laptop? Whose laptop? What's a laptop?
Was that your laptop?
For real, I don't know.
I know, but you
my
know
point
that's
is,
this is
I really don't know what the answer is.
You don't
the
know
truthful
yes
answer.
or no if the laptop
I don't have
was
any
yours.
idea.
They lied about it all, and then fast forward today, again that lie gets exposed, similar to what we saw in the Jake Tapper clip when it was exposed that Hunter Biden had received well over $10 million, essentially starting from the moment Joe Biden became vice president. That exposed Joe Biden pretty good in his lie that his son never made any money abroad. And now this whole the laptop's a Russian mirage conspiracy, well, that theory's fallen to bits, as now Joe Biden's own DOJ is using that laptop, which was supposedly a Russian myth, to prosecute his own son, Hunter Biden. Yeah, explain that one.
Take the Hunter Biden laptop, for example. The deep state lied to us. The so-called 51 former intel officials all saying it was Russian disinformation. 4 years later, Joe Biden's own Department of Justice is using that same Hunter laptop as evidence in a courtroom to prosecute his own son.
I'm sure you won't be getting an explanation, just like you won't be getting an apology from this guy.
This is classic Trump. We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. There's overwhelming evidence that from the intelligence community that the Russians are engaged.
I still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said.
Yes. I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign. It's a last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family. The vast majority of the intelligence people have come out and said there's no basis at all.
A guy who willfully lied over and over again to cover up his corrupt tracks. He's the guy supposedly with no scandals. When Donald Trump even mentioned that he might have had a scandal during that infamous 60 Minutes interview, he was essentially told off and told that he was being ridiculous.
Leslie,
and you think it's the biggest issue to campaign on?
I think it's one of the biggest scandals I've ever seen, and you don't cover it. You want to talk about?
Well, because it can't be verified.
You want to talk about insignificant things.
I'm telling you.
Of course it can be verified. Excuse me, they found the laptop. Leslie.
It can't be verified.
What can't be verified?
The laptop.
Why do you say that?
Because
even the family hasn't. The family on the laptop, he's gone into hiding. For 5 days, he's gone into hiding.
It turns out that Donald Trump was right. It turns out that we were right. It turns out that Joe Biden is a liar, and he's not the person, and he certainly isn't the politician they portray him to be. And I think more people should be interested about the skeletons in this guy's closet. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.